Welcome to another episode of Seeing Them Live, a podcast featuring memorable concert stories from live music fans. Everyone has a concert story, and hopefully, one day, we'll hear yours. Today, we are going to hear from Art.
You know, I know what they said in the news, that they had to cancel because of the stomach flu, but, I love Jimmy Page, but he was wasted.
I'm also joined with our esteemed co-host and producer, Doug Florzak. And Art, from what Doug tells me, you're into antiques. You have an antique business. I'm assuming it's furniture, but talk about it a little bit as a way of introduction.
Antiques nowadays, 1950s, 60s, and 70s.
Oh, okay.
So, and then sometimes the older stuff up on the North Shore.
Okay, so like kind of a mid-century sort of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I love that stuff. That's cool stuff. But as usually as a starting point, Art, it seems like where your starting point is with the first concert, some of which one in particular was like one of your favorites. But did you want to start there with like maybe Rush? When you at the Riviera Theater?
I'll start with Rush. Yeah. So when Rush came out with the album 2112, I was in high school, had no money, and my friend John and I were going to the Riviera Theater over on Broadway in Lawrence, and we were going to listen to the concert outside, listen to the music outside because we didn't have any money to get in. Right, poor high school kids. So we're walking around waiting for the music to start, and I find a $10 bill in the gutter in the street. And I'm like, holy man, you know what? Let's go see if there's any tickets left. So I go to the box office, the front, box office, and I go, how much are tickets? And they said, $4.50. So we got 2 tickets and $1 left over. And we saw Rush do the whole 2112 album, a lot from the Working Man, Fly By Night album too. And that was the first concert. The second concert was either at the Amphitheater or the stadium. I had money then, but I couldn't drive. I think I was maybe 15. And my mom drove us to see Kiss. That's embarrassing, but I did listen to Kiss in high school.
Yeah.
And they had just come out with their Alive album. And the warm-up bands were very interesting. I wish I would have seen them now as an older adult, but the warm-up band was West, Bruce, and Lang, which is Leslie West from Mountain, and Jack Bruce from Cream. They didn't do any Cream songs, though, but they did do Mountain songs. And then Mott the Hoople, Ian Hunter warmed up, after West, Bruce, and Lang. So that was my second concert. So that was a good one too.
Yeah, your mom driving to the concert. That's pretty cool. My mom would do the same thing, and I know Doug has heard interviews about moms and such that we've had on here. But that's a real benefit, to go to have somebody take you there. Well,
actually, after that, my music taste changed a little bit because I never listened to Kiss after that.
Right.
And one of the greatest concerts I ever saw was at the Aragon Ballroom a year after that. And that was UFO warming up for Foghat. UFO had just come out with their Lights Out album, and Foghat just came out with their Fool for the City album. And it was just packed with great music. And UFO became one of my all-time favorite bands. I've seen them probably 6-7 times.
Okay, yeah, I was reading kind of an old, not too old, maybe 2013 Illinois Entertainer article, which was they were interviewing the guys from UFO and how they have this special relationship with the city of Chicago, the fans. When they do a tour, they always, play larger venues or more nights in Chicago because for whatever reason, I don't know if they could actually explain it. They were very popular in the city of Chicago, fan base.
One of the big cities that they were very popular in. Actually, when they came out with their live album, they mentioned Chicago in one of the songs. Like they don't say "Lights Out" in London; they say "Lights Out" in Chicago.
Right.
on the live album.
Yeah, I recall that now that you mention it. Yeah, so that any particular reason why that show moved you the way it did as one of your best concerts, or just
The Michael Schenker became one of my favorite lead guitarists. That album is probably on my list of all-time favorite albums. They've got Lights Out on there, Too Hot to Handle, Misty Green and Blue. It's just that just became one of my favorites. And I've seen, like I said, I've seen UFO, and they just retired at the end of their farewell concert. Phil Mogg, the lead singer, had a heart attack.
oh boy. Oh.
Yeah, so too bad. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I saw UFO in 1982, maybe at the Amphitheater. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a good show. I went with some friends from work and stuff, so that was a great show. Now, looking at some of these notes that you had provided us with prior to the interview,
Sure.
you had mentioned, and we want to hear about the infamous Led Zeppelin concert you went to.
Okay.
But I'm gonna jump to the summer of '77 just for a minute. The Super Bowl of Rock, and I went to one of them, and I was curious which one or ones did you actually attend?
So the Super Bowl of Rock at Soldier Field, I think it was the first one they ever had. There was Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and that was a really great concert. I was really young. I think I was like 16 years old when I saw that. Let me think of who played with.
I believe it was Foghat.
Yeah, Foghat. Yeah.
Climax Blues Band and Jay Giles, perhaps.
Jay Giles. That sounds about right.
So you were at that show.
Yeah, and that was okay, but my favorite one was Ted Nugent. Now Ted Nugent, this was the best because I saw Leonard Skinner before the plane crash.
Right. I was actually going to go to that concert with my mom because she had taken me to see Pink Floyd, which was the concert before that, which was unbelievable. But the line was so long to get tickets. Famous words. She said, "Well, we'll see them next time they come to town."
Oh boy!
Of course, there was unfortunately no next time. But yeah, it was Leonard Skinner, Ted Nugent,
Journey,
or Journey. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Steve Perry just got on with them like a couple of years, and they had some great music. And then REO Speedwagon, and I think 38 Special.
38 Special. Yeah, right. That's correct. Good memory, Art. So you, out of that grouping though, you were, Ted Nugent was really a standout there, or Leonard Skinner as well, I would imagine.
Leonard Skinner, yeah, that was I would have. They're still playing. Van Zant's brother, I don't know if he's still playing with them, but
yeah,
they still come around.
Yeah, they do tour still. Yeah.
One of the original guys, I think he was the bass player, just died. I mean, that was the last original guy, I'm pretty sure. But I'll tell you what, I think my favorite, there was the World Series of Rock also.
Yes. And I wanted to get your take on that because I was also at that concert, but go ahead.
Comisky Park. That was, the one that was the standout. I think that was 1978. And that was Aerosmith. They were the headliner.
Yeah,
Foreigner, ACDC, Rick Derringer, and I think Mahogany Rush.
Yeah. That sounds about right. And
I can remember the lead singer of Foreigner. He's on stage, and there's this song that says, "And I'll leave you my key." I don't remember which song. Well, Hot Blooded, maybe.
Okay.
And I'll leave you my key. And he takes a keychain with keys on. He throws it to a girl in the audience.
Huh. Okay.
Anyway.
I wonder what
do you think,
those seats were for.
You know how
do you think that had his hotel key on there or something?
It's quite possible, Doug.
Yeah. Huh. Wow. Yeah. But yeah, Art, I've never talked to anybody else other than the friends that I was with. I think I was 13 at the time. My mom took me and a bunch of my friends there and we we were looking forward to seeing all the bands, but Aerosmith in particular. But I was really disappointed with their performance. The sound was terrible. And I was wondering
Yeah.
if you had experienced the same thing. I never talked to anybody else who was at that show.
Well, I got a couple of years on you, and I was probably a little alcohol and under stimulated or overstimulated.
Okay.
And it probably didn't matter back to then.
Okay.
So you were 13. Your mom wasn't giving you any beer.
No, she wasn't. But
Well, I actually don't even, I don't even remember. I don't know.
yeah, because it was one they were playing, and then finally after like the second or third song, I turned to my friend and it's like, do you know what song they're playing? And it wasn't until they started playing like Sweet Emotion that I kind of recognized
that you knew,
it.
yeah.
But the sound, I don't know what was going on with the sound quality, but it was really bad. But anyway, I was just curious about that. We're going to take a quick break. Art, when we come back, we're gonna hear about this infamous Led Zeppelin show.
Would you like to be a guest on Seeing Them Live? If you have a concert story you'd like to share on this podcast, please visit our website at seeingthemlive.com. Once you're there, click on Become a Guest in the main menu. Then fill out the form and click the Submit button. If you seem like a good fit for the show, we'll contact you via email. Everyone has a concert story. Let's hear yours. And now, back to the show.
All right, we are back with Art, and I mean, I was reading. If you ever want to read a good book about Led Zeppelin, Art, by Bob Spitz, Led Zeppelin, the biography. And when you filled out your guest form, I had just kind of been reading it, and I asked Doug, I said, oh my God, was Art, did he happen to be at the show in Chicago on April 9th, 1977? And you were. And in this book, they talk about how Led Zeppelin would kind of set up shop at the Ambassador East Hotel. And they're playing 4 nights in Chicago, but then they would fly in their jet to like Detroit, Minneapolis, St. Louis, and do shows there. So they would be at this hotel for quite some time. Okay. And in the book, I mean, the author literally says the third night in Chicago was one for the record books. And I'll let you tell the story. You had really good seats, right?
Yeah, we had 12th row off center, main floor.
Okay.
And my friend Rich and his brother got us tickets. I don't know how he got those tickets, but it was right off center. It was right in front of Jimmy Page.
Okay.
And we saw about an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes of Led Zeppelin. After about an hour, Page was really wobbly and he had a hard time standing up. They brought a chair out on stage for him to sit down on to play. So he was playing from a chair, but he really he wasn't hitting his notes. He wasn't, I know what they said in the news, that they had to cancel because of the stomach flu, but I love Jimmy Page, but he was wasted. I don't know anyone. I mean, someone when they can't stand up and they can't play their guitar, they're missing the chords. So anyway, they canceled the show after about an hour and 15 minutes. We all went home. They sent us tickets again to reschedule. I don't remember. It was a year and a half, almost 2 years later, I think. We get everything ready to go, and John Bonham drinks too much Jack Daniels. I don't know what he was drinking, and he dies. He vomits and aspirates himself, and so they canceled. They didn't play after that. So at least I got to see an hour and roughly 15 minutes of Led Zeppelin, which are my favorite bands. My favorite 2 bands are UFO and Led Zeppelin.
I always, because I remember when John Bonham died, and I was kind of looking forward to trying to get tickets, that would always be the
Yeah.
challenge. But it was kind of like, you sort of lived in the time of Led Zeppelin, even though I never saw them, we
Yeah.
still enjoyed the music and the anticipation, of maybe seeing them live. But yeah, in the book, they talk about how Jimmy Page was on some sort of like smoothie diet. And he got,
Okay.
his stomach cramps. But then they said, smoothie with a bottle of Jack Daniels or some alludes here and there, probably going to make you feel great
Yeah.
in front of people.
Didn't they send you some sort of a letter or something regarding the tickets or something?
Oh yeah, I got a letter. The Wirtz family sent me a letter.
So you want to talk a little bit about this letter?
Yeah, we were looking forward so much to going back and seeing these guys, and they got together for a couple of charity things. I'm surprised it didn't take John Bonham's son and put it together, but I guess they just didn't need to. That was it, so.
Art, I just saw John Bonham's son, Jason Bonham, over the weekend at whatever they call it now, what it used to be the World Music Theater, the Jason Bonham Led Zeppelin experience. It was kind of interesting. It was.
Who was the lead singer?
I can't remember the guy's name, but the guitarist resembled Jimmy Page quite a bit, and even his mannerisms and stuff.
Oh, no kidding.
So it was fun. They played like, I don't know, 10 Led Zeppelin songs or something like that. So yeah, it was kind of cool.
Well, let me tell you, if you've never seen Led Zeppelin 2, that's the name of the band. Okay. I go see them every year at the House of Blues. They play 2 nights. Right. The first night is the slower stuff, the more ballady stuff. They'll have ukuleles and banjos on stage. Okay. And then the second night is the harder, the really good stuff, the rock and roll stuff. They are incredible. I've seen those guys probably 10 or 12 times.
Okay.
Led Zeppelin 2, really great.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, they always play at the beginning of January to the middle of January. I think that's Jimmy Page's birthday or something like that. Chicago House of Blues every year. You can catch them. They used to play like, the Summerfest stuff, like the Taste of Lincoln Park and stuff like that. But they become so big, they tour the world now.
Oh. Yeah, it wasn't Led Zeppelin, Jason Bonham's band, but I enjoyed it. It was cool hearing songs, and the lead singer sounds a lot like Robert Plant, and I thought it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. All right, Art. Well, we're kind of winding down here a little bit. I know you seem like you were sort of an Alice Cooper fan. You had mentioned that you had seen the band $1 Billion Babies. Is that correct?
At the Aragon, yeah. I've never seen Alice, though.
You didn't really have any disappointing concert. Some people will talk about that, but you did. The $1 Billion Baby concert was, you were expecting them to play some Alice Cooper songs.
Yeah, that was almost disappointing because they did know Alice Cooper songs. I saw all the guys, that play with, his name's not Alice Cooper, but they did know Alice Cooper songs. And they actually had this stage where it was a boxing rink. It was really weird. That's the only thing I remember about that. But I'll tell you, one of the last concerts I saw, last one was Led Zeppelin 2, but my birthday, Michael Schenker at the Desplains Theater, 50th anniversary. Awesome. Did all the UFO songs.
Right.
Michael did all the Michael Schenker songs. He didn't do any Scorpion songs because the one tour I saw him at the House of Blues, he did Scorpion songs, because he was on like 2 or 3 of their albums. His brother's in the band too.
Rudolph Schenker, I think. Well, anything else, Art? Anything that we might have missed? Yeah. Doug, anything? Can you think of anything we might have missed here? Or...
When you went to the Michael Schenker show, did you get to meet him or anything behind the stage?
No, but I met Ron Anesti, the guy that owns the Arcada and Desplains Theater. I stopped him and I go, Ron, I wanted to thank you. And he goes, why? And he goes, because the shows were all sold out. Schenker shows were all sold out, and he opened the Desplains Theater up to standing room. I wasn't planning on going, and I called like the day before, and there's like, because I was calling to see if anybody gave their tickets up, because it's my birthday. It was on my birthday, and I thanked him. I said, Ron, thank you for opening it up to standing room only. Really, man, this is so cool. And he goes, it's your birthday? And I go, yeah, really. And I showed him my driver's license. And I'm like, this is a great birthday. He goes, where are all your friends and girlfriend? And I go, they don't like this music. I love this music.
So just for our listeners, the Arcada, that's St. Charles, right? St. Charles, Illinois.
Yeah, the Arcada's in St. Charles, which is a great venue. I've seen LA Guns there. I've seen Cinderella, which is Tom Kiefer now. I saw George Lynch, Dockin. Yeah, it's a good venue. I like Desplains too.
I saw Sweet at the Arcada.
Oh, that's right. I went with you.
Yeah, that's right. You went with me. So the other thing that's interesting about that place is the restaurant that's above there. Do you remember that? It's in the form of a speakeasy, like an old 1930s speakeasy. Remember that? We had, I don't know if it would be early dinner maybe or something like that there. And that was a lot of fun too. Cool. So if anybody goes to that, I would recommend the restaurant. It's a nice experience.
And definitely, in the Desplains, see that they put a bar in there, so you can sit at a bar and have drinks before and after the concert. Actually, there was the band that warmed up Michael Schenker, the lead singer from Mr. Big, was in, I can't think of his name. They had like 2 or 3 hits, and he warmed up for Schenker, and his band was there having drinks, and everybody was talking to him, and I was like, it's not Schenker. I don't need to talk to you guys.
But you could have if you wanted to, right?
I could have, yeah. It was kind of cool, So.
And you went to this Michael Schenker concert by yourself, Art? Is that what you were?
All by myself.
Yeah, I've been seeing more things about that. Like, don't miss a good show. Go by yourself. And I've done that too. And it first couple times, it's a little weird just being there by yourself. But you get to see the band, and you kind of have freedom then too. People aren't tagging along with you, and you kind of do your own thing, sort of.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chuck. I make friends there. Honest to God, I had a blast. I mean, I was hanging out at the House of Blues. I was hanging out with these 2 girls from Poland. I mean, it was great. It's a big party.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. So, Art, we've got a couple more minutes. Anything else you want to touch on? Your antiques, you'd mentioned that, right? Anything regarding that, or that you want to plug before we sign off?
Oh, well, I've got the store up in Northfield at Heritage Trail Mall, and I've got the one in Chicago. I lease space from Andersonville Antiques, right at Foster and Clark Street. Yeah. So I'm in both of those spots, and they're great places.
All right. Well, everyone, go check out Art's mid-century stuff. And Art, this has been a pleasure, and really appreciate your time and sharing these stories with us.
Absolutely. That's been fun.
All right. Take care. We got it done. It's done a lot.
All right. Yeah.
That's a wrap for our show. I want to thank today's guests for sharing their concert stories with us. Make sure to check out our show notes at seeingthemlive.com for links to websites, photos, and other artifacts mentioned in the show. I also want to thank my producer, Doug Florzak. The theme music for the show was composed by Doug and is featured on his album, Flagstone. If you have a concert story you'd like to share on our podcast, please visit our website and click on Become a Guest in the main menu. Then fill out the form and click the Submit button. If you seem like a good fit for the show, we'll contact you via email. I guess it's time to head for the exits. We'll see you next time on Seeing Them Live.